EA Sports UFC 2, arguably the best EA UFC game. This game holds a special place in many gamers' hearts due to the crazy amount of flash KOs and knockout animations. Now, this is not a review of the game by any means, this is in fact a challenge.
So recently I was just minding my own business streaming on Twitch. I was just streaming some EA UFC 2, and two people in my chat, my good friend Gwen and Ian from Sickle Season Entertainment, had a challenge for me. Do a career mode on the hardest difficulty with one catch. I have to use CM Punk. Now, there's no real rules for this besides the fact that it has to be on Pro, which is the hardest difficulty, and I can't restart. Apart from that, I can do whatever I want. If I want to give Punk for the craziest kicks ever, I can do that. Now, granted, CM Punk in real life didn't have the best UFC career, so let's see how he does where I'm the controlling factor. By the way, I'd like to point out that there's going to be a lot of calves in this career mode. It's not because I was just picking easy fights, that's literally all the game gave me 9 times out of 10. Anytime I had the option to fight someone real, I took it, so discretion on that.
Our journey begins on the Ultimate Fighter. We have our first fight to even get on the show where we destroy our opponent on the feet, gain a knockout in the first round. We are then selected number 1 by Team Tate. Our second fight saw pretty much go everywhere in the fight. Punk was finding success on the feet before he was taken down. Punk would attempt a guillotine with no success, showing holes in his ground game. The fight was able to get back up to the feet where Punk kept finding success with punches, and the fight actually went to the clinch where Punk was able to secure a takedown, gain the fight to the ground, and ending the fight with hammer fist. In the quarterfinal fight, our opponent was more defensive and evasive, but Punk was able to connect with a head kick and a flurry of rushing punches to get the knockout. With Punk now in the semifinals, he would face off one of his teammates. Punk went in for a glove touch, and the opponent did not show the same respect. So I repaid this gesture with a flurry of punches and a head kick knockout. Competing in the finals of the Ultimate Fighter, Punk now had a chance to show people he could compete in the UFC, and become one of the few pro wrestlers who successfully make the switch to mixed martial arts, joining the likes of Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar. I made quick work of my opponent, dropping him with a mean uppercut and winning with some hammer fists.
He just walked him with that hammer fist. Oh, he's hurt. That's it. It's all over. It is all over.
By this point, you're probably thinking, there's no way I'm on Pro, because I'm just running through these guys, and for that I say, I don't know what to tell you. I double-checked multiple times to make sure it was on Pro.
Now fully in the UFC, it was time for Punk to make his debut as a UFC welterweight. In his first fight on a UFC card, Punk struggled in the beginning, getting taken down and nearly submitted. Once back on the feet, Punk started to land combinations, eventually rocking his opponent with an uppercut and rushing him with wild hooks, winning the fight by KO. In his second fight, Punk would struggle on the feet, eating a ton of body shots. In the closing seconds of the first round, he did manage to secure a takedown, saving himself. In the second round, Punk did connect with a couple of head kicks and punches to drop his opponent and end the fight with hammer fists on the ground. It was clear that Punk was becoming one of the best strikers in the welterweight division. After picking up 2 more knockout victories, I suffered my first loss. After dropping my opponent and rushing in against a wrestler, mind you, I ended up getting defeated by elbows from the mouth, and the same thing would happen in the next fight. Now on a 2-fight losing streak, Punk would really need to get back to his winning ways, and he would in his next fight, getting a knockout in the first round. It was starting to become evident that Punk was a great striker but had no answer on the ground. I would go on a win streak before getting knocked out by a crane kick straight out of the Karate Kid. Punk would rebound, however, getting knocked out in his next fight in the very first round. After 2 wins, I rematched the last person to defeat him, and after a back and forth war on the feet, Punk would get his opponent back to the cage and would rush him with punches for the knockout. Punk would get one more fight before fighting his biggest test in the UFC in Matt Brown. The 2 exchanged strikes before Matt took Punk's back and submitted him with a standing rear naked choke. Punk would rebound, however, getting a knockout in his next fight by a beautiful spinning heel kick. After this, Punk would be booked against his next big test in Johnny Hendricks, and Punk would take his training extra serious so he wouldn't be finished so quickly against another elite fighter. It wouldn't matter though, because Hendricks would connect with a powerful uppercut to make Punk go to sleep.
You got knocked the fuck out!
I did pick up a few more wins before getting to fight another big name in Kelvin Gastelum. With Kelvin being a wrestler, I wanted to be more cautious and not be so aggressive with my strikes. I was getting the better of the stand-up, and I did notice this in the game, that the game kind of bugged, so like when he would clinch, he couldn't do any transitions, I couldn't do any transitions, so the game kind of just had us stuck there until the ref separated us, which I actually think was pretty helpful. In the second round, I managed to catch Kelvin with a perfectly timed head kick for the knockout. Finally, CM Punk had beaten a real elite fighter. Thankfully, the game decided to give me some real fighters to select. I had the option to rematch both Matt Brown and Johnny Hendricks, but I decided to take a fight against Gunnar Nelson instead. The first round was an aggressive stand-up war. Gunnar was able to get a takedown and almost submitted me with the North-style choke, but I escaped thankfully. I brought the fight back to defeat, and in round 2, Gunnar got me to the ground and threw ground pound to defeat me. It was my clear biggest weakness in this game, was the ground, due to me sucking at it and because I put way too much faith in my stand-up. And right after this, the game decided to force me to fight Damian Maya, who was the last person I would want to fight, by the way. But I had to take it. Not to mention, the game turned heel on me by shortening my training camp. As expected, I did lose the fight by KO shockingly, and I was expecting Maya to submit me, which he almost did. After this, the game felt pity and decided to give me calves again, which, for the sake of the video, I'll just be glossing over the rest of the calf fights because this is getting stupid. My next big fight was against Mike Pyle. I had the edge in the stand-up while he had the better grappling, so my goal was to try and keep it standing. Yeah, we're not off to a good start. During the first round, whenever I wasn't struggling to get off my back, I was getting good kicks and combinations, and 3 minutes into the first round, I finally had the option to rematch Hendricks, so I took it. I wanted to be as patient as possible to avoid another uppercut KO in the first round. That didn't go great as he kept taking me down and grappling me, which is not what I want going into the second round. I wanted to try and catch him with a nice combo, and then deja vu set in, sadly. I would get a rematch against Mike Pyle, where he actually finished the same way Matt Brown did, which by this point I kind of thought was bullshit, because at this point in the game I had pretty good submission defense. But, oh well. Finally, after a couple more calf fights, I finally got another fight challenge against Roy McDonald, which I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of hyped for, and then reality set in when I got knocked the f*** out in like 40 seconds into the fight. My leg bent the wrong way and everything. I got crow-copped. You truly hate to see it. And this will be my last real fight, as the game had me fight a calf and I still got finished in the first round, and that would be the last time that fans would see the straight edge superstar in the octagon. During my playthrough, I went 22-13, which, while not great, is still positive, so I will take it.
Alright, so I said I put a knockout montage at the end of the video, so here it is. Enjoy.
The cultural personality. I know your anger, I know your dreams. I've been everything you wanna be. Oh, I'm the cultural personality. Like Mussolini and Kennedy. I'm the cultural personality. The cult of personality, the cult of personality. Neon lights, Nobel Prize, when a mirror speaks, the reflection lies. You won't have to follow me, only you can set me free. I saw the things you need to be. I'm the smiling face on your TV. Oh, I'm the cult of personality. I exploit you. personality. The cult of personality. The cult of personality. Neon lights, Nobel Prize. When a leader speaks, that leader dies. You won't have to follow me. Only you can set you free.
I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I had more fun making it than I thought it was going to be. I honestly thought I was going to hate this challenge with how hard it was expected to be. It wasn't that hard. Granted, I did just fight Cass, which it does kind of suck in my opinion. I wish I had gotten more real people to fight. But we still finished with a positive record, so I'm happy about that. Go check out the channels down in the description because this is their idea. This is entirely their whole deal. I'm not going to, not give credit where it's due. And if you're new to my channel, maybe check out some of my game reviews. I just did a review of all the UFC Undisputed games, so go check that out. Go show that some love. And, yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Peace!